Hey y'all, it's October the 15th, 2015, and Hillary Clinton done came through my town today, San Antonio, Texas. So I figured I had to take off work. There's no way I'm going to miss this. I figured someone has to go down there and lend a voice of reasoning, and so I did that. I went down to see Hillary Clinton herself. And as you might expect, it was mad creepy. It was like swimming through an ocean of ignorance as far as all the slack-jawed yokels that were around, right? It was pretty awkward in that way. But I did talk to a few of them, and it's kind of interesting. Um, when I got there, I noticed and I noticed some other things, and I also noticed that there was huge signs, huge banners, T-shirts, and little signs and flyers going around, and they all looked like this. Yes, they looked this creepy, all of them. All right. The thing is, I blacked out the eyes right here. So besides the blacked eyes and the dark lipstick, all the rest of this is unchanged. This is exactly what it was looking like on banners and T-shirts and flyers and little signs and all sorts of things. Bottles of water were looking like this. I want to point out a few things. All right. First of all, if you were making a TV show or a movie or something, and one of the characters was planning a communist dictator takeover of something, well, then the props would look just exactly like this. Am I lying? Is this not exact communist propaganda with the stripes coming out from the back looking like a sun behind you, and you're facing diagonally this way, and you got a black turtleneck on, and your whole being is in black and white? Is that not communist propaganda? Even more creepy, she decided to add Fiesta colors to make it seem like she could relate to people in San Antonio. And not only that, everything was in Spanish, which I gotta say, I found kind of offensive. All right, because I am half Hispanic. I don't speak or read Spanish. What I mean to say that is there was nothing in it. This isn't a Spanish flyer. There was no English anywhere, and I found that peculiar. All right. While I was there, I met, a few Hillary supporters, and I also got to meet Joe Biggs from out of InfoWars and his cameraman Michael, and a few other people, and they were cool. During Hillary's speech, and I left a link to the video which I'm referring to and a note so that you could skip directly to this interview. He came across like this really tall Hispanic, maybe Middle Eastern guy. He was tall. Right. This guy came out of nowhere and he said, "Hey, I want to be interviewed by Hillary," because it was obvious that Joe Biggs and the like were talking bad about Hillary, and he overheard this Mexican fella overheard it. And he came over and they held an interview. Now I feel like they actually both held their own. It was almost a pretty even debate. I'd say I was a couple feet away from it while it happened. So while you're viewing the video, I'm actually right by the cameraman. I'm off to his left listening to this whole thing. Now, I didn't want to interrupt, but I was taking notes. And the thing is this, I want to share with you this. If you're ever having a debate with someone, an acquaintance, stranger, or a friend, if you're ever having a debate about Hillary Clinton and you want to prove your point about Hillary Clinton, if someone wants to debate you about that because they don't agree with you, all right, they're not going to be able to pull out too many stops. One is this, and I've noticed this many a time. So when this happens, and the thing is, Joe, he wound up touching on this a little bit, but when this happens, go ahead and nip that in the bud. All right. As far as that situation, if you're bringing up Hillary Clinton, someone comes at you and they say, "Oh, Hillary Clinton knows a lot of stuff," and also, what about what Obama's doing, or what about what George W. did, or they even might reach far back like that, a particular gentleman, and he might say, "Hey, what about What about what Reagan was doing? And that whole Iran-Contra deal or whatever. And the thing is, you got to nip that in the bud and you say, hey, listen, all right, we're not even talking about Obama. We're not talking about George W. All right, we're certainly not talking about Reagan because he's dead. All right, if we were having a conversation with you about Reagan, or say if we were at a Reagan rally right now, say he wasn't dead, and we were at a rally for him right now, and everybody was all cheering Reagan on. You know what? I'd be right there with you on that Iran Contra. I'd be like, you know what? I'm upset about that Iran Contra deal. But the thing is, we're at a Hillary rally. The thing is, we're talking about Hillary Clinton right now. So just because someone's bad, just because someone committed a crime over there, that does not mean that Hillary's not a criminal. And so, therefore, their argument falls flat. Joe should have nipped that in the bud, but the thing is, I didn't want to interrupt. If you do have a conversation like that, you're going to want to nip that in the bud and stick to the issues. Now, I want to finish with this. Like I said, it was a sea of Hillary supporters. A lot of them had diabetes. A lot of them just they don't know what's for their own good. All right, you feel sorry for them. Then there was a group of maybe a couple hundred people, maybe a little bit less, of people who have sense about them, have common sense, and so therefore they did not like Hillary being there. They were calling for her to go to prison. I mean, that was pretty much, they were calling for all sorts of things, but the main thing was Hillary for prison, for prison, for prison. So if you were out there, and say, if you're a Hillary supporter and somehow you came across this video, and you were out at that rally, or if you're a Hillary supporter in general right now, the question that I got to ask you real quick is how come all these people are shouting out Hillary for prison, and that makes sense? What I mean by that is, like for example, I don't like Ben Carson. I don't like Donald Trump. I don't really like him. I don't like Carly Fiorina. You know, I kind of like Rand Paul, but he needs to step up his game. All right. I don't like any of these people, but if you were to go to a Ben Carson rally or a Bernie Sanders rally, or an anybody else almost rally, and go and scream out, "Hey, Ben Carson for prison! Ben Carson needs to go to prison!" Everybody would turn around and look at you and say, "What are you even talking about? That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't matter whether you like his policies or not. It does not even make sense for you to suggest prison." So what I'm asking for the Hillary supporters out there is, why does it make sense that people are calling for your favorite candidate to go to prison? That's a question that you're not going to ask yourself. And even as I'm asking now, you're going to refuse to hear me probably. But that is the main question. Why are people suggesting that she should go to prison? Could it be that she breaks the law in all of our faces all the time, and she's been doing that for decades? I mean, just to go through a short list, we're talking Benghazi, we're talking emails, we're talking let's not forget that young girl, that 13-year-old girl whose rapist, she got off on a technicality. Not only that, you could argue, oh, she's just doing her job. Well, you know what? It's not her job to laugh about it on a telephone conversation after that. Not only that, her husband is accused of raping like over 20 women. All right, there's all sorts of deals that you could talk about, taking money from all sorts of women-hating dictatorships. You know what I'm saying? All sorts of backdoor dealings to where if you suggest Hillary for president, people don't look at you crazy. They just look at you like you're an asshole. You know what I'm saying? You can't say this about anyone else. All right, so it's October the 15th, 2015.